Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mermaid Mystic channel. We continue our Major Arcana month today with the next card, the Hierophant. So as you know, I'm going to dive right into the meaning. Go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to get some way of taking notes, because I'm going to dive into the meaning right now. So what do we see here? Okay, so we've got this figure who's sat between two pillars. There are two students beneath this figure. We see some keys. We see that we've got three crosses on that kind of center band on their outfit. We've got three horizontal lines on their staff. We have three tears on the crown. And then we also have a hand in a very specific symbol. So what does it all mean? So firstly, we're going to notice that this is called the Hierophant, but the figure looks more like a religious figure like the Pope. They're not the same thing. The Hierophant actually comes from ancient Egypt, and it was someone who would translate symbols and messages from spirit to the people, kind of like a translator of sacred rites and mysteries. So we have this idea, and even really if you were to look at some figure perhaps like the Pope, it's like this bridge, a bridge between like the heavens or the spiritual world and the people. We can see the idea of hierarchy here because we see that the two students are below the Hierophant. Now, hierarchy is not the way. So when I kind of sometimes think of hierarchy in the past, it was like, ugh, there was kind of like a hierarchy of value. If someone was up, it means they're better or more worthy. We're going to do away with that. We're going to get into the etymology of the word hierarchy, which, if we go back to the roots, has this idea of a high priest and the leader of sacred rites. That would be how I would approach the idea of hierarchy here. This is a Hierophant. This is a figure who has gone through the studies and the initiations to be in a position of authority to teach. I think with the internet today, there's kind of this idea that anyone can teach or put information out there, but I think we all know that the best teachers have taken some time to learn what it is that they're teaching so that they can do better by those they're sharing information with. And that's the idea with the Hierophant. So we just respect that this person does have authority pertaining to what it is they're teaching or sharing us. And so this actually card does show up in some pretty mundane settings in our lives. Like this does sound, we've got a high priest, we have this leader of sacred rites, we have this bridge between heaven and earth, and absolutely all of that is on the table when the Hierophant rolls up. However, because this is such a message of established tradition, right? This Hierophant didn't make up the sacred rites. This is someone who has learnt traditions from those who passed them down to this figure. So there's this idea of a foundation of wisdom and rituals, a foundation of knowledge that is continuously passed down. So this can often show up for things like university or positions in government. So you just think about, we've got this established order. We have hierarchy in those places. I like to think about the Hierophant as some of my best university profs. You respected them not because you had to, but because you just couldn't help it. They were passionate about their subjects. They were great teachers. That's to me the best expression of the Hierophant in a mundane sense. The keys here indicate that the Hierophant is sharing knowledge with you or sacred rites. Again, this idea of a foundational wisdom that is going to unlock your own greatness, whatever that is. It's going to unlock your own brilliance and your own gifts. So even though we are talking about a traditional body of knowledge that's passed down, whether it is spiritual or secular, it is still going to unlock your own gifts. So it's not about parroting or simply regurgitating that which you're taught. There is a sense of strength and foundation in these traditions that are being passed on that give you a solid foundation for your brilliant ideas to grow, right? I think about my university studies. I studied French and Spanish translation in university, but the whole time I was like, the world is a language. It was university, and I did learn all of those things that are passed down, like how do you learn a language, the grammar, those kinds of learning structures, for sure. I took tests, blah, blah, blah. But my own kind of keys, I was like, oh, I could see how translation theory was so beautifully put to learning the tarot and even dreams. And I just realized, yeah, the world is a language, the world is our oracle, and that university and spirituality to me are not like oil and water. I just saw so much crossover. Anyways, that's just an idea to give you this set body of information or knowledge has the keys to unlock your own wisdom. So ideally, that is the Hierophant in their most aligned expression. Now we've got a thing with the number 3 here because we've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the little crosses on the strip of fabric. Like we said, we've got the 3 horizontal bands here on the staff, and we have the 3 tiers on the crown. So 3, number of things. This once again brings in the message of the Hierophant is the bridge between heaven and earth, between the spirit world and the material world. So you could look at this as the 3 bridges. There's a lot of ways to look at this. So you could look at it as like sky, water, and earth. Those kind of 3 realms, and the Hierophant brings them all together. You could see it as the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious, which, by the way, the late, great Rachel Pollack suggests the major arcana is split into those 3 lines. If you're interested in that, I can talk more about it. Let me know. And so it can be those as well. It could be even shamanic, where we have the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. This idea of kind of three realms that make up the world, ordinary and non-ordinary reality, are found across multiple traditions, and the Hierophant is the bridge. Pretty cool, hey? But you'll notice that they are sharing their knowledge. So this isn't about gatekeeping, but once again, it does bring us back a bit to that high priestess. The sacred knowledge, sacred wisdom, it does have to be earned. And earning, of course, is through respecting it and putting forth effort, respecting our teachers and doing our part. Not just, palms open, but not willing to offer anything back. So we are going to earn it through our effort and through our focus and through caring and through respect. The pillars are in the tarot are going to be symbols, they're gateways. So if you think about the pillars and the high priestess, this was a gateway to the other world or your spiritual self. The pillars here are that gateway that is presented to us when we do learn, when we do like go to university or you take that class and you become certified in something. Now you have a gateway. The world opens up. Now that you have that experience and that knowledge, and because it is the Hierophant, we do have this idea of the community has given this figure their stamp. Yes, you are a teacher. Yes, you are a translator. Yes, you are a shamanic practitioner. You have the training and some kind of mark, certification, where the community can see you as that figure. Now, when you have that certification, your world opens up, lots more possibilities. So that's the gateway we're talking about here with the Hierophant. The pillars can also represent foundation. Here we can see they are indeed made of stone. And so this is, once again, talking about the solid foundation we get through education, through learning, through great teachers, as well as this idea of a system of knowledge being passed down. So the astrological association with the Hierophant is Taurus. So you'll notice like Taurus knows how to live that good material life. Am I right? So this is not like the figure who's like the monk in the forest with like but one robe, just like eating that humble fish he caught. As we can see, like they're doing okay. Look at this like dope robe. So with Taurus's element here, there's also a message of financial stability and security. So again, the Hierophant could be suggesting that if it's not spiritual, this card coming up for you, you are developing a strong sense of material security and foundation in your world. So that can be like a really solid job. You're building up your savings. You're doing something traditional to accumulate stability. With Taurus, though, comes a little warning because Taurus is reliable, just as this knowledge is. Taurus values the material world, as does this figure. Taurus can be very resistant to change, as can systems of traditions and learning, whether it's university or a government or a spiritual tradition. So in the Hierophant, we will learn the values of tradition, but we'll just be mindful not to become stagnant. I think this is one of the reasons why so many people have a hard time with this card, because as you can see, there's actually quite a few possibilities. So let the Hierophant itself teach you, right? When you pull the card, be open to any of these possibilities. Let the Hierophant offer you the keys to unlock your take on the Hierophant. All right, my friends, thank you so much for being here. Next up, the Lovers.